Hey guys, happy Friday! It's Fan Friday today. So today I'm starting on my new poster that I'll be working on. It's the Ancient Magus Bride poster that I'll be working on. I've been kind of excited to work on this one. This will be a 4-week long project, I hope. It might be a bit longer. So I'm very excited to get this started. As you can see right now, it's just a super rough drawing, and I'm hoping to take this and maybe fix up the portions, and then I'll do the cleanup art, then the flat art, and then the highlights and shading. I don't know how technical I'll get with the shading for this one, just because I want to have it shorter period than I usually do. With my more complex posters with the very complex shading, it usually takes me 2 months, and I want to kind of test myself, see if I can shorten that time by a month. So I'm very excited to get this started. So let's get going. And to everybody who's new, welcome. I do streams of sketching, and I'll be doing other streams in the future. There's future plans for 2019, so you're welcome to join me on these chats. I usually talk about anime, Disney movies, Marvel movies, just movies in general, and manga, and, well, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan too, so Harry Potter. So, welcome. Oh, and I'll also talk about the animation industry, because I am an animator. I do work in the industry itself. So, yeah. Also, since it's Friday, for all the above 19 years old in Canada and 21 in the States, it's time for a drink. Because it's Friday. Yum. Let me know. I have music playing in the background. I don't know if it's recording the music. My last stream, it seemed like it didn't record the music. So let me know if that works. I hope it does, to be fair. Because just talking sometimes is not very interesting. So I try to get some nice copyright-free music in the background. And, you know, because helping artists spread around their videos, I posted the link to each video in the description. So if you guys like the music, you can go check them out if you like. To anybody who reads manga, do you guys read webtoons? I have the app Webtoons, and I've been finding myself kind of in a dry spell for reading manga. I haven't found any that really kind of piqued my interest. Even the ones I'm currently staying on top of, I find them kind of, they've hit a rough patch that I find they're kind of dry. So I checked out this app called Webtoons, which I think it's independent artists creating their own stories, which is awesome. So I wanted to get your opinion to see if there's any of you guys that read any different stories. I'm currently reading Lookism, which, if you guys like K-dramas, that's one you should check out because it's very much so K-drama. I also read Blessed, which is really good. It's a kind of, it's pretty funny actually. It's about this young adult woman who is kind of having not the best of luck on the dating site, and she decides to go on a dating app and just swipe right to every option. Well, she ends up swiping right to basically a contract between 7 gods. And these gods end up showing up saying that she's part of a prophecy, that she'll be impregnated by one of them to become like the prophecy child. And it's pretty funny. Her life gets turned upside down because she doesn't want to be, you know, a mother just yet. That's usually update on each Friday. So if you guys like that, you should read it. It's pretty funny. So right now, I'm just trying to go over to see what proportions I need to fix. Because half the time when I do my rough drawings in Photoshop, I find myself not really getting the proportions I want. So like, I'm currently drawing Titania, which if you look at her drawing here, she seems to have very long limbs, and I just find my drawing doesn't represent that very well. And on top of that, I have to figure out that cleavage. I've never drawn a cleavage that big before. Sweet Jesus, how do you walk? I think I'm gonna elongate her legs just to kind of give that length. So the other problem is that Western style kind of cartoon drawings add a lot of muscle definition, or like some muscle form to the anatomy of characters, to anime, which doesn't really do that for their limbs. They do very straight, thin limbs, not many curves. So this is the difference, is that when drawing anime, when you want to do some fan art, and you know, you still want the characters to be represented very well. As for myself, trying to add my style to these characters is kind of difficult. So I always try to draw them more on model and then kind of tweak them later. So I always do a rough, then I do a rough, clean of the rough, and then I do a clean of the rough, and then once I'm happy with the proportions and the pose, then I'll go ahead and clean it up. But even then, sometimes I'll change my mind. Like right now, I'm kind of not feeling this hip. I feel like it needs to have more grounded. I can't figure out. So sometimes I'll even bring a reference image to kind of see if I can get the look I'm looking for. Doesn't always happen. So, see if I can. Whoop! Almost dropped my pen. Whoops! My bad. The first thing that I was taught in animation school was ignore all anime. It's terrible proportions. Only Studio Ghibli might be okay, but even then, anime is not the best for getting the best of character designs. Which, you know, to be fair, yes. Like, you have waists that are, like, this big, and most characters all have the same body shape, which is just the style of anime. Like, that's just how it is. But, there's a certain thing about anime style that Western cartoons just can't capture. It's just something about it, like the fluidity of the hair, how it just flows in the wind. Most Western cartoons, they just have like a blob for hair, which I personally don't really like. I like having the strands of hair flowing in the wind, but I can see that being for animators just the most torturous thing, and that's why we don't usually use them, especially for TV animation and like Western animation. Disney would be like the exception. They're crazy, like but now, like for Disney, they just do mostly 3D for their feature films, so then like it's not a big deal, because then the computer basically calculates the movement of the hair. Even though the animator still has to go back and make sure that it's flowing nicely, it's not like cutting through the head or cutting through the body, especially when like a character does a turnaround. Sometimes what will happen will be a character will be turning around like, oh no, what's spinning? And there we go. We're just gonna do a quick body. And pirouette. And the hair will physically cut through the arm or the body. Like you'll have this piece, like almost like it looks like it's like that, and then you have the hair kind of cutting through it. And that doesn't work. So, you know, even though it's mostly calculated by the computer, animators still have to go back and double check it, make sure it works, and if there is some tweaks, they have to do tweaks. Shows like Ruby, when they started, I was watching it with my friends at the time, and you can clearly see their limbs cut through their bodies. And, you know, as an animator, that's all I can see. For normal viewers, you know, people really enjoy the shows. My animation friends, they enjoy the show too, but that's all I can see. So whenever I watch the show, even though, you know, it has great prop designs, great a build up for a story, that's all I can see. And then when I was watching the behind the scenes to it, they said, well, we have this great tool called Auto Tween, which is a tool that, you know, some animators do use for subtle side to side actions, but not for major action poses, because what happens is when the computer is calculating, they calculate mostly in a straight line. Well, all animation is done in a curve. Like when you're swinging a sword, you don't swing a sword straight, even though it looks like it. It's not straight. It goes in a very subtle arc like that, because your arm naturally has a descent and then an up. So what happens is usually limbs, the auto tween, the computer will calculate straight, and the arm will just naturally cut through the body, because that's what the computer says. The computer says, hey, listen, I need to get to this point, to this other point. What's the most direct way? Well, right through the body. That's what happens. But I've heard that since then, I haven't watched since after season 3. I've heard that since then they've actually hired animators and a studio to kind of fix those things, and they've put the budget to fixing those things. And, you know, there's still sometimes that problem that appears, but they fixed it. So, which is nice to hear, because, you know, a lot of people do enjoy the show, and, you know, when people really enjoy the show and it's successful, you do want to put the effort in it to kind of not be rude to your fans in a way. So that's good. I'm happy they end up fixing that, because as soon as they said that, I just did the biggest face palm. But as for myself, I don't watch the show anymore because I just couldn't. I don't know, maybe in the future I'll watch it. I don't know, we'll see. I'm not a big fan of the show, but it's fine. Everybody has their dislikes and likes. Whenever I start these sketches, it's always so hard to figure out what I want. I always change my mind. And that's the other thing. So anime, when Western animation we draw bodies, usually you could have the subtle like one shape like this. But how I am taught was that you have to draw the anatomy. So you have your rib cage, and then people have a belly. Even though they don't have a belly, they have a belly. So you have to draw that belly, and then you have the hips for like a woman, because that's what I'm drawing. A woman, and then the belly button. You have the abs. Well, anime is just like this. You got your... There's like no body fat whatsoever. So it's a little bit tricky turning my brain off to that sometimes. Sometimes I'll have to go and adjust. And then I'll try to find an in-between, because my brain won't allow me to do that solid, flat kind of style. But I do, the other part of my brain wants to stick to the character because I really like the character. How do I want to do this? And this is where artists get frustrated, because when they can't get the vision that's in their head onto the page, it can get very frustrating because that's all you want to do is get your vision out. And it doesn't always work out like that for some reason. So a good trick that I was taught was, if you really can't figure out what you want, like the perspective of it, box it out. You know, all your limbs, if you want to simplify them, just box out your head. You got your head, which is, that's an up view, so you're looking like that. Then you got your torso. And my teacher, in first year, you're naturally to draw this because you're like, oh, well, your torso is pretty thin. And so you draw like this. Well, my teacher used to call this a cereal box. You know, she's like, how can your organs and your rib cage stay like that? So you then just like draw a box, you know, something to hold your rib cage and everything in it. So there's your rib cage. You know, you go, whoa, there's, and then you got your butt. Well, you think, oh, you draw your butt like this, right? Because everything else is drawn like that. Well, no. Your butt is naturally kind of curved down because of gravity. It just naturally is like that. So you got your butt. Your booty. So it curves down. So your butt is actually on an angle. Like that. Because you're naturally, like, when you're standing, you're like this. So actually, I could probably turn it like this. So yeah. So, oh, wait, no, too straight, too straight. To angle it more. So, and then your rib cage, because yeah, your natural body has kind of an angle to it. It's not straight like that, because then, you know, if you have your profile view, you think, oh, that's your butt right there, your legs. Then you got this, and then you got your rib cage, your chest. Or, well, I'm used to drawing women, so it naturally has that angle. Well, if you had that, then you'd have your chest down here, your back straight, and basically your butt would be in your leg, which doesn't make sense. So here's like, you think, okay, your body's like that, the square that is your butt needs to be on a tilt. Same with your rib cage, you know. I just did a basic to kind of show. So your rib cage technically has a tilt to it. So when you connect it, it has that natural curve of your spine, because your spine goes like this. So this is the top part of your spine, and then your spine goes on it like an S almost. And then your legs are straight like that. So then you can, that's how you kind of figure out. So when you're trying to break down foreshortening, it's a little easier to do it with box. So like you have your hand, you have it like this, and now like you can break down a lot easier than trying to figure out, okay, the thumbs here, the fingers here, I think here. That's a lot harder to do than to break it down from boxes. So those are a couple of tricks from my life drawing teachers that I learned that were a huge help trying to figure out stuff. But even then, when I do these fan art posters, it's not always easy, because there's not always reference to kind of base your image off of. So you're missing a couple curves that could really be pivotal to your drawing, and it doesn't always work. So it happens. I love a cold cider. But yeah. So. Also, down shots are the worst. You know, we always say don't give an animator a lot of down shots because they're very hard to figure out. The perspective, especially without a grid. So, you know, I try to add a grid when I was first doing it. I think I have it, yeah, like here, which is fine. Like, I might still use it, but even then it's like, oh, hard. And even then, you're not even going to see her legs, to be fair. It's going to be under the dress. But part of it is so I know the anatomy. You know, clothes don't just go through your legs. They go around your legs. So you have your legs like here. Ooh, sick. You got your leg right here. Well, you need your dress to kind of go around it. So that's why I still draw all the body parts, even though you're not even going to see them. Like, I might draw the feet, like, just, you know, the basic shape. I won't go into detail, but it's always important to have some sort of anatomy underneath the clothing, just so you know what the heck you're drawing. In my first year, I think it was like the first week of college, my teacher said, put your books away, put everything away. We're going to do a test. Without looking, draw Bart Simpson. And everybody's like, well, I know Bart Simpson. Everybody knows Bart Simpson. Like, it's a super, like, well-known character. Well, so we were all given a picture of Bart Simpson. Or, no, sorry, we weren't given a picture. We were given a paper. And then we said, gave us 5 minutes to draw Bart Simpson. Well, I'm like, I got the image. So you draw the head, and he's got, like, the spiky hair. And then I couldn't remember the rest. I was like, how does he look? So I ended up drawing. I'll even draw it now because I don't even remember how he officially looks. Like, it won't look like Bart Simpson. It was something like this. It was ridiculous. So then he told us, put all of our Bart Simpsons on the wall and we're going to look at them. Well, none of them looked the same except for one. One ended up looking like Bart Simpson, but then we found out this guy when we went to school, I've done a bunch of fan art and stuff, so he had a lot of training, and he had drawn Bart Simpson like 100 times, so it just happened to be, you know, just muscle memory. But then there was a point, he's like, listen, you can't create good art, you can't create animation without looking at real life. And the reason why we say that is because animation is an art to create life on page. Is taking an image and bringing it to life, representing real life. So you can't create a mimic of life without, you know, knowing how life works. So that's why he's like, always use reference. If you can use reference, do it. If you have to act it out yourself, act it out. You'll get a better result like that. And when you're in first year, you think you know the best, and then you realize, wait, these guys have had major careers. Maybe I should listen to them. There we go. I think I got something. Anyways, me rambling about school. School was interesting. School was a lot. To any younger generation who is planning to go animation school, be prepared to have your heart broken. To be fair, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Be prepared to have your heart broken just because when you first get there, especially if you haven't taken any college courses before, your expectations is that you know how to draw cartoons right from the start, but then your teachers will break you down and basically mold you into two animators, basically. It'll be frustrating for people who don't have a natural talent to it, who can't automatically see the thing that is animation. I was like that. It was incredibly frustrating. I felt like I couldn't see what somebody else could see for my own. But then when I looked at other people's animation, I could pinpoint all the mistakes, no problem. I'd be like, hey, listen, this doesn't flow right. This looks like it's staggering. This looks like it's going too fast into the pose and there's no subtlety. It was really frustrating when I would go back to mine and it'd be like, oh, it looks great. And then the teacher would be like, listen, your stuff isn't staying still, you're jagged, you're too fast. So there was a lot of days where I wondered, what is it that I can't see? It was, and so I told myself, listen to your teachers, ask the questions, make sure to ask the questions, make sure to really focus on what they say. But then there's a certain point you gotta say, is this for me? Which did happen. But then I told myself, you know what? If I just keep at it, if I make it to my 3rd year, no problem. And for the most part, that's what happened. I ended up finding something that I liked. But it doesn't always happen like that. I do have a friend who graduated with me, but she never did end up getting a career in animation. She ended up doing something else. But she still draws. She still enjoys drawing. It did cause her quite a bit of anxiety for it. And I think that's a big part why she quit. But, I admire her for understanding that this wasn't what she wanted. I think we're getting there. I don't know if you guys know the show. There's a main girl. Her name is Chise. This is how she looks like. There's an episode where Titania comes in, and it almost feels like they make an automatic connection as like an older sister to Chise. So I kind of want to make Chise lay on her. She's sleeping while there's all these like bug sheep that come in and sleep around her. I don't know. I still think her legs are a little too stubby, but that might be because I made her upper body so much bigger than her lower body. So I think I might, shrink this down a little bit and kind of give her a slimmer shape. We'll see. I don't know. When I started in college, we started off with, I think we were 75 people, which compared to some other animation college, that's not a lot. But then by my 2nd year, we were whittled down to 35. That means 40 people ended up quitting or failing, and they had to restart their 1st year. But then by our 3rd year, we were down to 25. So, and then from that, I think we were only 22 that graduated, if I remember correctly. So to be able to graduate with those 22 people, I felt super proud of myself, but also I felt like I wasn't ready to start in animation. And part of that was true. I was not ready to start in an animation industry at all. It was, I wasn't, and my portfolio quite showed it. During my last year, quite a few family stuff happened that interfered with my education. And, it is what it is. It happens. Life happens. Other human beings, you go through different things. I was very sad, though, that it happened and I didn't get to enjoy my 3rd year as much as I could. But at the same time, I was going through stuff too during my 3rd year, and that caused a lot of emotional stuff, and I couldn't focus, but I'd be doing 2 all-nighters a week. During my whole second semester, I only got 8 hours of sleep a week, which is terrible. I highly do not recommend it at all. By the end of my 2nd year, I looked like I was on my deathbed. I didn't feel good. I felt always sick. It was just terrible. So, my advice is, if you get into school, don't feel obligated to stay up all night for 3 days in a row, because what will happen is your brain, after lacking sleep 2 days, your brain automatically basically shuts down. You start to hallucinate, you start to be paranoid, it's just terrible. Get at least a minimum of 6 hours of sleep at night. And your teachers will always say, you'll lose points for not finishing your assignment, but they want to see quality over quantity. They rather see good rough animation over terrible finished animation. And during my third year, the first semester, because second semester a lot of stuff happened that I will not mention because it's pretty dark. I made sure to get at least, not the 6 hours, but 5 hours of sleep. And only do one all-nighter a month. Which is still not good. But, you know, it is what it is. It is college. You know, I wasn't the only one pulling the crazy all-nighters. It's just what happens. There we go. Okay, we got those legs done. The legs are like so pivotal to finishing a good pose because of the ground. How to ground a good pose. Pose. I need to make a good pose. So. But my also advice is that, you know, you still want to listen to your teacher because they're more experienced than you. But during our third year, we really, my class especially, we figured out that, you know, they don't always agree with a specific style. My classmate was doing a very flat design kind of style cartoon. And most of the teachers wouldn't approve of it because it was not set to a Disney standard with a 3D type look. So they just decided to go ahead either way without the approvals. It was fine. And it turned out fantastic. I, on the other hand, didn't catch the message fast enough. I just kept seeking approval. And then it ended up turning my movie, my student film, to something that I didn't want to do anymore. So, as an artist, you still have your artist integrity. You still are allowed to make choices for your film. So I say, listen to your teacher because they will guide you, but also know when to say no. Because in the end, if you keep saying just yes, 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 all the time, then you'll end up losing your creativity in a way. Yeah. But all in all, I got to meet some great friends. I still have quite good friends from college I still talk to quite a bit. I got to become the person that I am while there. I got to leave my shell and become the crazy anime fanatic that I didn't have to hide all my manga, you know. I had friends who enjoy the stuff that I read. I'm hoping to at least get this started, at least Titania's part started cleaning up, because this one's going to be a long one. She has this large, there's going to be this large root tree in the back, which a bunch of like smaller trees in the back that are faded, and some sparkles everywhere. And then you're going to have Chisei kind of lying on the ground here. It'll be interesting. So far I've done, how many? 4 posters. But I've never sold any art because, you know, again, I think every artist goes through this. They feel like their art isn't good enough. You just kind of have to bite the bullet and do it. So how is everybody's Friday going? If this week has been so weird, I thought we were Wednesday today. So at work, I kept saying, "Oh, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow." But in reality, I was like, "Oh wait, it's Friday. Whoops." Oh, this is good. It's too sideways. Hands are the other things that are hard to draw. I try to like block them out and then kind of figure out the anatomy to them. But even then, oh god, they're the worst. Anybody who is not currently in high school, if you've ever drawn, have you ever drawn a character and you're like, yeah, it's so good? Well, funny enough, I'm pretty sure I used to draw my characters like this. They used to have tiny straight necks, and they were like, hey. And then I tried to add as many eyelashes as I could to the characters like this. Pretty sure I could recreate it like this. And then it was like, let's add a highlight here, and then some dark. And then my favorite part, oh gosh, this is my favorite part. I would draw, how would I draw it? I would draw like this, and then I would, I don't even know why I did it. I would draw the arms like this, and then the hands would be like here. Something like that. It was something ridiculous. And then I ended up going into a special arts program in high school, and they'd asked me, what's the most difficult thing that you have a hard time drawing? And I said eyes. Well, I'm pretty sure that was a lie. I'm pretty sure it was hands and arms. I think I'm gonna do like this. I'll have one finger sticking out, and then I'll group the two middles, and then I'll just stick the pinky out for variety, and then I'll have the thumb kind of. I think I'm gonna have to spread out the fingers. So I'm gonna do this finger. I'm gonna have to redraw these. Finger, and then pinky. I'll redraw the fingers later. Pretty sure I drew the hand too small. No, I think I'm gonna have to do this. Snake hand. Could spend a whole afternoon just trying to draw hands. That one's better. I like that one. I think I'm gonna keep that one. That. And then she has a, like, sweet Jesus, how big of a chest do you need to not be able to walk anymore? Like, look at this. It's huge. Seriously. Like, her dress comes around, and then it goes like that, and it's just like that, and then you have this like brace that's like stopping her from breathing. Sweet Jesus, girl. I know you're a fairy, but I'm sure that you wouldn't be able to breathe at that point. You got these huge boobs that are pressing on you, and then you have this like corset. Oh, so I watched the latest episode of Steven Universe where he does the party. I'm quite curious what's gonna happen. So now, anybody who hasn't watched it yet, spoilers, obviously. So now Stevani's like locked up in this room. Who knows what's gonna happen? But now we know who White Pearl is. She used to be Pink Pearl, well, as far as we know. So that means, I'm assuming that our Pearl, the one that we know from the show, used to be White Diamond's Pearl, and she's supposed to like set an example to Pink Diamond what a monarchy is. So that's gonna be interesting. I'm hoping that, you know, Steven maybe end up healing White Pearl, so then we can hear some of the Pink Diamond's memories, kind of thing. I'm hoping maybe Steven has to go into his like inner memories, like into his gem, to meet Pink Diamond or his mom to talk to. But the other thing is, which is like, I hope they fix this, but what happened to Lars and the off colors? They kind of just dropped that story arc. We have no idea what's happened to them. They kind of just went, well, they're flying through space, who cares? Like, what would happen if maybe they got caught by one of the gems and then got brought back to Homeworld, and then they see Steven on the planet, and then what would happen was maybe Lars would think that Steven was captured and he's being tortured or something, and he tries to save him, but then Lars ends up figuring out or finding out that Steven is Pink Diamond. Maybe he'll feel betrayed. I don't know, like, what happened to them? They're just flying through space right now. The last thing we saw was, I think, when Garnet went to see them. Was it Garnet or was it when they went to the moon? Either way, like, we didn't see much of them. Like, as far as I remember, Garnet went to see him, told him about Rose Quartz. Then Steven started connecting the dots. Wasn't sure who Rose Quartz was anymore. And that was it. Like, that's all we knew. But nothing about Lars. Like, we don't really know about Steven's powers either. Like, how did he bring Lars back to life? Or, like, Lion's story. Like, there's a lot of stories that they just ended up leaving without finishing. So I'm hoping they'll end up tying kind of some of the stories instead of just ditching them. The other story they ended up ditching was Jasper's story. You know, being a corrupted gem now. There's, like, so many stories. They started and ended. And started and ended. Like, I hope that they end up finishing instead of continue doing hiatus, because sweet Jesus, it's after being a fan, you know, the 5th hiatus for like 6 months, that takes a lot. Like, I consider just not continuing, because it's just like, is it even worth it? You know, am I going to get 2 episodes or am I going to get 6 episodes? Because they would bring out like 5 consecutive episodes and then they would go for a 5-month hiatus. Which, it's really frustrating. I don't know. Like, if an anime can continuously bring out content, I don't know why this show can't. Like, I really don't understand why they do it the way they do. So I'm hoping that, you know, they'll go right to the end here, and then we'll be, like, it'll almost be back to back, so we don't have another 5-month hiatus. It's just very frustrating as a fan, because there's these so leftover stories. They kind of feel like they just copy paste them to just get them out, kind of thing. So yeah, it's just very frustrating. Ooh. I think our head's too big. If anybody draws, do you always accidentally draw your character's head like twice the size that they need to be? I always do that. It's really annoying. Because then, you know, I've done that, and then I've had cleaned up everything already. And then I was like, well, I need to redraw everything. How am I gonna draw the branches? I wonder. Let's get a zoom out. Turn these guys off. Not bad. Kind of like the feel of it. Now, I think what I'm gonna do is do the clean version of this, so I can get better understanding. Like right now it's all just very sketchy lines, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do like a clean rough, and then I'll add the hair, the position of the hair, and then maybe the dress. Like I might just not clean up the legs and just do the dress. You know what? No, actually, I'm going to do a rough drawing of the clothing. And then I'll just do a quick rough clean of the whole thing. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, well, Titania, I need you smaller so I can actually look at your clothing while I do the rough of the dress. Titania. I love that name, actually. Titania. And we can put this on multiply, and you know, I won't be boggled by not being able to see through it. And for this one, since we use orange and green, I'm gonna go for a purple so I can really see it. I think just because it's such a prominent piece of clothing, I'm gonna do the corset first, because then that'll determine all the folding and the chest. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So right now we have the corsets kind of braided into each other, so I'll do that. Clothing is the best. I love clothing. Clothing. Anyways, we'll see about Steven Universe. I'm again hoping that they don't play around with their fans much longer, because I can definitely hear people getting impatient. So we'll see. We will see. I'm going to make the brush size a little smaller so it won't be as prominent. Whoops! Rule number 1, do not exit your full screen. Yeah, so definitely follows the hip line. So if, oops, I go by the hip line, goes like that, and then it goes around, and then I think I'm just going to make it follow its body form. Goes, I'm just on top of the curve, so it goes like right here. Wait, where's the center body? To make sure everything's lined up, I gotta add a line. So see, like this one's way off. So I think I'm gonna do this, and then that, and then I'm just gonna do its basic shape, and then we're gonna I feel like it seems really long, but then maybe once I add all the braids, it'll be fine. I don't know. Half the time when I first do these rough parts of the clothing, I always have to end up redoing something, so we'll see. Kind of like that. And then we're going to, which one's on? This one's on top first. So we're going to go here. We're going to do this. And then, ugh, it's going to be rough. Okay, we're going to do that. And then this guy does something like that. And then we got something like that. Oh boy. For some reason, drawing braids was always like my weakness. Huh. It goes like this. Kind of like that. So maybe not draw it like this would work. So I need this for sure to kind of follow. So it goes like that, then like that. Then this one, we're gonna do this. I feel like I'm gonna have to do like the basic shape at least like this, just so I know. Yeah. And then we can just kind of go ahead and connect. Yeah. These complex shapes are the worst. They are so hard to draw. I don't know, maybe it's just me, my brain being incredibly slow. But I have a hard time drawing these, so you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to load down the opacity of the eraser and just go gently over. So I don't have to create another layer. But I also don't get disrupted by the lines. Look, so I can do this. Maybe add a little trim to it. Go down, and then I can do the same with this guy. Like that. When I was a kid, there was a show called Art Attack. That's what I feel like I'm doing right now. It'd be like, just a little piece here, just a little piece here, just a little slide here. Maybe, you know what? I might be doing this wrong. Huh. I think I need to redo this guy. I think it goes like this. Something like that. Yeah. I just gotta not screw up the line. Yeah. And then since the body unnaturally curves up when the shoulders are going down, the hips will naturally curve up. So if you ever look at yourself standing, you never stand parallel. Your body just naturally doesn't do that. So what it'll do, better turn up the opacity of the eraser. Your body will naturally, when you're stand, go into a curve, something like that. So your shoulders will be going down one side and then up the other side, and then your hips will naturally do the opposite. And that's for most actions, actually. When you sleep, when you swing a bat, when you row a boat, when you jump rope, when you draw, when you sit. So you have like your torso here, and then your hips kind of go up. So then if you draw this, I'm going to redraw with a better space. So you got your shoulders and your hips, and you got kind of like that. Then you got your shoulders. Your body will not naturally do something called the squash and stretch action. So you have your chest, that could be a man or woman. It'll naturally do like a little bump here, and then do like very straight here. So it'll like naturally squash right there, but then very elongate this side. And that's why, you know, whenever you draw yourself sitting or something, you never sit absolutely straight unless you're forcing yourself. your body will naturally not naturally stay. Oh man, you know it's been a good friend. Stay straight. So that's why if the hips are going up, these guys are going to be going up. Oh, commercials, why do you torture me? Why do you torture me so? Seems like the music has changed soundtrack, so I'm going to copy this one and go underneath. Go underneath and add some links. Copy, paste. It's a new one. This one's called Best Music Mix 2017 Best of EDM, no copyright sound or gaming music. In the background, it's super cute. It's a person riding on a tiger with a toque. It's really cute. Wait, I'll show you. Look at this. Isn't that cute? It's so cute. I wish I could ride a tiger. If I did that, I'd probably be in very much danger. So, what were we doing? We were talking about body curves. All of the body curves. Best kind of body has all the curves. So, how do I want to do this? Now I gotta do the other side. Whew. So, got this guy. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, something like that. Wait, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might shorten it a little. Excuse me. I'm just going to take this one off. And then I'm just going to accentuate that curve. And then I just realized that I actually did the zigzag all the way to the end. So, do that. That. And then, if I see correctly, it does like a belt almost. So, from the looks of it, it has like a square emblem here. Then almost like 2 belt buckles. So I'm going to do that. Something like that. And something like that. So just very loose. Because I might have to change it. I'm not going to perfectly draw it the first time. Just because of how clothing are. It's very finicky. Like I might even change it so that this side here, the left side, might overlap each other a bit more, so I can get more of that squashing action that I was talking about. Almost like, you know, when you look at armor, you know, they have those different panels. When you have, how do I explain? Like a hand, you have like a hand. Here, I'll just draw a quick hand. Hand like this. Wonderful hand, Nicole. Jesus. Here. Jeez Louise, I'm gonna have to... Yeah, good enough. We're gonna do box fingers. Box fingers. These kind of fingers. Okay, so there's my terrible, terrible hand. Holy jeez. Can you tell it's been a long Friday? Oh, man. Anyways, okay. So I'm going to just draw out some quick armor. So you have your panel here for your, oops, for your kind of top hand. And then you have all these individual little panels on top. Well, people do like that so you can close your fingers. So it's basically like this and this are quite similar. So, well, that's what I'm thinking. You know, I don't think this woman could bend over if it wasn't like that. So when a fist's close, kind of like that. Or here, I'll do it front so you can see. Got the thumb, whoop, whoop. Kind of like that. The panels will basically separate kind of like that. So you got these kind of panels. So as you can see, you know, we see them changing in perspective because they are rotating with the finger. But once they go back up, they basically go back into alignment where they get closer. So they're very much so overlapping each other, kind of like that. So for this, I think what I'm going to end up doing, so like if this is the curved body, this is this side, so you have your shoulders like that, and this is like the body. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these panels kind of closer to each other, so it goes like, so I'm like, wait, here we go. So we got our belt here, so we don't want to really touch the belt, but this part will kind of be closer to each other, if that makes sense. Like I'll probably raise this guy, these guys a little closer, and the belt will kind of compensate for that. And then these guys will kind of like stretch out. So I think I'm going to drop this belt a bit, and then this guy will naturally space out. So when you're doing these kind of space outs, you want to kind of gradually put them gradually put them closer, like this, kind of like that. So that's like your squash action, but for the opposite, you want them to go further apart, not that much, further apart. Oh my god, drawing. You think it was something that I was good at. Kind of like that. So then that shows it like having to form to the body instead of just having equal spaces all the way around. It doesn't show much fluidity with the said armor. But you know, I could just be talking about nothing. Who knows? Just give me a sec. Okay, why? There we go. Haha! My phone wasn't letting me send a text message. The person I'm sending it to, they don't have data, so I can't send them iMessage. They have to be sent as text messages. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but the music I'm playing, it's like very good. It's good Friday night music, to be fair. Oh, pardon me. I may be streaming tomorrow. We'll see. And I may have somebody over. I'm not sure if this friend comes over, but I might ask her to talk about old anime that she watches, or, you know, some childhood anime that she remembers. That'd be good, actually. I would like that, if I can get her on, but we'll see. Oh, the mouse. Mouses are not very pleasant. Okay, so back to talking about curves and straights. Honestly, this could probably be a topic for like 3 episodes because it's very important. Not a lot of people realize that everything has a curve to it. Nature's naturally curved, which is funny. Even the straightest thing is probably curved in some way. It's funny because even writing has a curve to it. It's pretty funny because if you look at a graph of a story, you have your build-up, then you have your, it's like development, then you have your climax, then you have your slow slope to conclusion. So even that has a curve to it. So when we say everything in life has a curve, everything in life has a curve. I need reference for dresses because drawing a gown on a dress on the ground is very difficult. So if I could get some nice reference, it would be fantastic. Need a good reference. Whoa. What is said good reference? I want something that looks natural and fluid. No. Sometimes finding reference is incredibly difficult, and that's just what it is. I think my best reference is going to be up here. White dress. this might be the best option. I don't know. Titania has a gown, and I'm assuming there's not a ton of layers, but enough to make it froof out. So I'm looking at wedding dresses. When they're, wedding pictures of a woman sitting on the ground. And I think I found one of the better references, but it's so poofy that I don't know if I want to use it. It's like so poofy. Holy smokes. The poof is real. See? This is the poof I was talking about. Look at this poof. At least Chise will have something to sleep on. Jeez. Oh my god. It's ridiculous. Alright. Well, let's do the first rough, and I can always adjust it later. Oh no, I lost the YouTube with the chat. Oh no. Even though right now there's nothing in it. Ha 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 ha. Everybody's busy. Ha 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 ha. Fun times. Fun. Is it sad that I'm spending my Friday night just here sketching? Who knows? I'm enjoying it. Who cares? I got my Summersby. I got my Cintiq. I have my chocolate. It's a good night. That's all that matters. And I have good music too, so. But I'd say only drink if you're of legal age. If you are, then have fun. Be responsible. If you are at a friend's, take a car. Don't drive. Take an Uber. If you don't have Uber in your country, take a cab or have a designated driver. Be very responsible. That's very, very, very important as adults, when we're giving privilege. It's always good to know that we have more responsibility with those privileges. Look at me sounding like an adult. Let's talk more about cartoons. What kind of... I'm gonna see if I can remember some of the cartoons that I watched as a kid. Okay. So this is a show when I was a kid. I don't know if anybody remembers it. I think it was a Canadian show. For being in Canada, we have sometimes our own special shows. It was called Redwall. And I don't know if anybody remembers Redwall. It was about mice. So instead of human, it was mice in, I guess, the Middle Ages. And there was this one mouse who got attacked by rats, who were like the enemy. And the sister of said mouse, the main character, basically escaped with him to this monastery, and she ended up passing away at the beginning. So that was really sad. Like, you actually, as a kid, she looks like she's sleeping, but she ends up passing away. And this mouse ends up in this orphanage. And he ends up growing up in this orphanage, being part of the monastery. But he also hears about this great mouse called Martin, who was this almost like a knight. And as I do more of these streams, you'll notice that I'm a huge fan of knights and, armor and stuff. He hears this legend of Martin the Knight, and he was like this courageous, brave, kind knight who protected the monastery when the rats came. And the red that he ended up defeating, he ends up coming back, and it's up to this our main character to protect. Well, he makes it his mission almost to protect the monastery, and you find out that he ends up basically succeeding Martin, and he has to find his sword and all of his armor. So it's really, I find, a very good, well written story. It used to, apparently it was originally a book. I didn't know that. So yeah, like, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show, but I found it very good. It ended up doing, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. So they did one, it was the sequel with his son, the main character's son. And then the third one was Martin. Like, it was the past before our main character. So that was really cool. There we go. Now we got a good picture. We watched Skyhawks. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. Skyhawks was the jam. Was the best. Basically, it was like Defenders of the Sky. I don't really remember, but it was like Defenders of the Sky. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that one. I'm almost tempted to just flop it on the ground, but no. Follow reference, at least for the first bit. What else did I watch? Oh my god, I watched so many shows as a kid. Like, my days were filled not with video games, which honestly sometimes I wish, but it was filled with just some of the coolest shows that I remember as a kid. But then you had also some absolutely stupid shows that, you know, as a kid you're very much entertained by fart and burp jokes. Again, now I watch it and I'm like, what is this? It's so dumb. Okay, let's do that. Oh my god, so poofy. I think I'm gonna add a piece to go behind because you technically see her hand on the ground. I don't know. We'll see. Ooh. Another show that I actually still to this day love, and if I can ever find the DVD, I will buy it. It's, I guess, considered an anime because it was made in Japan, but it's not very the typical anime style, and it's all, I think, 3D made, and I think it was one of the first TV shows to be completely done 3D made. I think, I don't know, or well made, and it was called Open Star Racers. So it starts off about this girl who goes to find her dad, and she finds out her dad is this like world racer, and or no, he's a manager of World Racers. He owns the company, and they find out that they're going off to this like super humongous race. But then when she ends up going to meet this guy, he doesn't remember her. Like, this guy doesn't remember that this girl is his daughter, which is so sad. Anyways, what ends up happening, she ends up stowing away on the ship, so they go to this other planet, so it's like a sci-fi show, sci-fi fantasy, and you find out they're basically fighting for this massive prize. You don't know what it is yet, and they're fighting with a bunch of other worlds. Let's see, so this piece goes up here like that, and this you got some really cool concept designs. Like, you see some really cool stuff. Anyways, the racer of the Earth team, the one with her dad on, he ends up getting seriously injured and can't race anymore. So then she says, well, I can race. I can fly the ship. And she ends up becoming one of the racers, and she ends up like winning quite a bit. But I won't give away the ending. It's pretty sad, to be fair, but it's very good. I highly recommend it. Like, I want to get the art book. It's so good. Some of these folds don't make sense. Ugh. Pleats. Dang you, pleats. How dare you ruin me. Why pleats? Yes, I could actually show you a picture of Open Star Racers. It's really cool. I've actually considered cosplaying as the main girl just because her outfit's so cool, but you guys can't see me, but I'm a little bigger than said character, so I have some areas that I'd rather not show skin. So here, I'll show you this picture. Actually, it's a good representation of the show. This is what it looks like. Like, it is so cool. So if you guys like those type of shows with like spaceships, almost like a Star Wars, like the prequel, I highly recommend it. You know, it's not as bad as the prequel. This one's better. What's this? Huh. Anyways, yeah, so that's a show. This is the main girl right here. This is her dad, who doesn't know who she is. 2 love interests. Whoops. So. Yeah, I don't know. I really like it. If you guys like it, you should watch it. Like, look at this poster. Doesn't that look like something out of a video game? It's so good. Maybe I'll do that whenever I say, I'm like, oh, look at this show. It's pretty cool. I'll show you a picture of it so you guys could see what it looks like. And the ship designs are really cool. The racers are really cool. They're very different. Anyways. Yeah. Okay, now I gotta get back to these pleats. These pleats that don't make sense. Sweet Jesus. What is with pleats? Who cares about pleats? It's almost like... Oh, let me just check that it's not another come on. No, it's not a commission. So, sweet. Let's continue. Okay. So, okay, this piece goes around and then it dips up, but then it goes back up. And then it does like a shape like that almost. And then this does this. Huh. And then it goes like that, kind of. I don't like it. It looks like she's wearing a mountain. I don't want to be wearing a mountain. Like how I was going to draw it. And, you know, might be wrong. I'm going to have her kind of have that poof out. And then just have the pleats on the ground. Kind of folded over. But it looks too short almost. Maybe I can, you know what? I'm going to combo the two. That. I'm probably going to end up working on this on my own time a little bit. Just so I can kind of get ahead on this if I want this done in a month. But also at the same time, so I don't know, the schedule might be a bit weird because I'm also building cosplay for May. And I don't know if you guys want to see clips of that. Maybe I'll film it. I don't know. But I have to schedule some cosplay time too, so I can't always be streaming every day. So I might change the schedule to every other day, do a stream every other day, and then when I finally get my full setup going, do like videos in between. And they could be like games, pod, and then cosplay. I don't know. We'll see. It's not really boredom adventures. It's more like, oh snap, I don't have enough time adventures. And this stream gives me an excuse to do more art for myself instead of just procrastinating and doing art. So, you know, I'm gonna do the... See, there's this piece, right? So there's like almost like a flap. So I got to figure that out too. Oh boy. I don't know. I don't know. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like, here, so this, I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna have like the white piece underneath. Yeah. Yeah. Hear how confident I am? Totally. Yeah, something like that. I find, okay, so let me know if this is true. I find this part is too long for this part. So this part is clearly too short. What do you guys think? Like, I know there's nobody here now, but later on, I really need to know, because like when I draw it myself, I look at this so often that to me it's just whatever. So this, remember I was talking about saying that like when I can look at my animation, I have no problem saying that it looks okay. But when I look at other stuff, like other people's stuff, I'm like, well, this could be drawn better, this could be drawn better. These pleats are not positioned properly. And this is where my frustration comes from when I draw, is that I can't fix myself, which is very frustrating because I want to be able to be more independent in trying to fix my own mistakes. Something like that, yeah. There are times as an artist, and I think this goes for many other professions, where I just want to quit. I get frustrated and I'm done, and I don't want to work anymore. Like, it's just not, I feel like sometimes it's just not worth it. But then I think of, what if I did quit? What would happen? Nothing. I wouldn't know the answer to the... It's almost like a quest, you know? You wouldn't know the end of the quest. So I stopped myself from quitting by wanting to know what will happen in the end. And sometimes it's not always the best results, but at least I finished it and I get to know the ending. Nothing is more frustrating than starting a story and not knowing the ending. Sorry, starting a story that you're invested in. That's a bit better. I like that better. If you look at one of my older videos, I was working on the My Hero Academia poster, and I almost quit and said I'm not finishing it because I couldn't figure out some parts, and I was getting really frustrated and I couldn't stream anymore, so I had to stop. But I finished it and it turned out really good. The person who likes it, who got it as a Christmas present, loved it, so that's all that matters. Okay. And then we'll have, Chise. So I might end up changing the pleats because we'll have somebody putting weight on. So we'll have a head here and then like weight. So this might change like this, because when you have pulling action, you need to make lines to where it's being pulled. So like, for example, if you have, one hand here holding a rag like that from here, and then you have another hand holding a rag from here, like you'll have mostly straight depending on how hard they're pulling, but you'll have lines coming from both tension points. And like they'll go all the way through because depending on, again, depends on how much tension you're putting. So if both parts are really pulling, not only will it be going all the way across the lines, but then it might, you know, talking about everything has a curve, it might start curving in, because if you think of just anatomy, both pieces are starting to go their separate ways. The material basically starts to separate. So it starts to divide itself at the lowest tension point, which is not these 2 points, but right here. Interesting, fact. Things you have to think of when you're drawing. But also, if you think about like a hand here, holding a piece of fabric right here, but then another hand holding a piece of fabric here between each other, you'll have your tension point like right here, and then the other tension point right here. So you have basically lines that are overlapping each other. This is where we call like these different kind of pleats. And then the other, so kind of going back to that, gradually adding closer lines to show squash and stretch, it'll gradually kind of drop. So you have closer ones to where like more of the, I guess, action spot, and then less kind of like whoop, because if you're holding a square cloth, if you're being held higher, your square, if it's being held here up, then you'll have a dip right here, and then you have to pull up that same amount, so you're gonna have it up, and then that dip, so you're gonna have that dip right here, and then you'll have, because you're having so much like, I guess, weight right in the middle, you end up having a pleat right in the middle too. Ah, smiley face. What am I even talking about? I don't know. Hopefully this helps somebody figure out how to draw some stuff. That's my hope. Like even now, like I have struggles to figure out where I should put a line. And that's why I always pull up some reference for like clothing, just because different materials have different type of pleats. Like something that's more flowy will have bigger divots. So like if you think of a piece of clothing that's, whoops, floating in the air, whoops, right here, like, whoo, flow, it'll have a piece like this. So you have your tension, like the holding point right here. It'll flow out, and basically it's releasing, almost like it's releasing that energy, doing that giant curve. And then sometimes you'll have like an S shape, but sometimes it's so tight that it almost does an angle. So like here, and then like because this is further away, the weights, the energy, I guess you could say, is not as prominent towards this end. You could make it flowy, so you have like sharper angles to where most of the energy is going to, so it's flowing up like that. So you have like, I guess, energy pushing it up, so it's like push kind of thing. And then this one is just really small, so it's still pushing, but not as much. Oh, look at me trying to teach about fabrics. But then that's the other thing. You could have a very thick piece of fabric like leather, and if you try to do that same up action, it'll just do this. So you're holding, well, you couldn't really scrunch up fabric because it's so thick, or leather because it's so thick. So you'd be holding it almost like this. If you were trying to fling it up, it would just kind of like do this, depending on how thick the leather is. You'd have like some divots for your hand. Again, depending on if it's like a thick piece of leather like this, then you might not even get much of a, like you might get that much of a curve to it. It all depends. Thanks, Robo. Thank you. Yeah, let me just answer. But yeah, so that's a bit of tidbits about fabrics. You know, the reason why we use reference for that, just because you can't really draw a gown, like this flowy kind of fabricy gown, the same as almost like a leather dress. Like, it wouldn't work like that. Like a leather dress, you'd have like, she couldn't really sit like it would actually follow her body just because the material is so thick. It wouldn't flop down. Like, it wouldn't, if a person were to like sit down, it would kind of do this like parachute kind of action. Almost like a mushroom. You'd have like these weird divots all the way around. So, but if a person in kind of like a leather armor kind of dress, it wouldn't do that parachute kind of action. It would, like, if she were to here, let me just draw a lower body. It would go down, but it would like fold, almost like fold down with her. But then like you could do thick pleats, like with barely any curve to them. Like, you'll have overlapping fabrics, but you'll have thick kind of, oh my god. But yeah, like, it won't have that same amount of ruffles, I guess you could say, in it. That's why drawing more flowy fabrics is a little bit more difficult, just because you have to add more pleats to it. And that's another reason why I do like more rough, like I do a rough clothing layer, just because it's, for this many like pleats, it takes a lot of figuring it out, and I rather don't ruin all the other like body rough with my 10,000 lines for figuring out the pleats. We're gonna erase this guy. Whoop. Still not quite. This part I'm okay. The rest, it's okay. I think I'm gonna do like more rounded to kind of show that it's overlapping. It's a little bit better. So after this, I'll do kind of like a cleaner version like this, and then when I'm mostly satisfied, I'll do a rough clean. That's why it takes me so long to do these posters, because I'm never quite satisfied with what I have. I'm always looking to see what else I can fix. But then that also causes issues with timelines. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Where it goes underneath. There, right there. Kind of like that. I don't know. We'll see. I have to do like the cleaner rough of it. think I'm gonna go over this now because there's so much going on that sometimes it's just not worth it to keep drawing over. So I think I'm gonna draw. Is this just okay? I'm gonna read. Also, remember to empty out empty layers. They're useless and they bog down your file. So think now I'm gonna take what I've done with the clothing. Actually, I still have the sleeves. Should I do the sleeves now? Oh, the question. Might do the sleeves after, just because there's a lot of this going on. I still need to do some fixes, like the corset part and the dress part. So I think for now, I'm just gonna leave it. I think I'm gonna go with blue this time. Blue. Okay. Oh boy. Why would it change it like that? Sometimes Photoshop, I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Okay. So, we have, I might, jeez Louise, keep changing my mind. I think I'm gonna, it goes like this, and then we can just, that, and then make this hip more exaggerated. Yeah, I like that. I like that better. Okay, now. I gotta put the body line, rib cage. I think almost I need to fix the chest. Yes, senor. Okay, you got your deltoids. Oh yeah, and the other thing when drawing characters is also very important to learn muscle anatomy, just because you won't fully understand how to draw a character without knowing how to draw anatomy. Like right now, her boobs don't make sense. Like they need to be more towards us because of how her shoulders are. The shoulders are down, so the weight would be towards her shoulder that's down. So we need to fix that. So like this one, because it's being pushed to this side, the gravity will take care of its, so that, and then so we'll have this more stretched, and so that'll give more of a kind of curve to it. That'll make more sense. And then you have your clavicle. Sometimes I put the clavicle. It's always nice to have like an anchor to the neck. Your clavicle is set to like the center of your neck and is attached to a major muscle that I can never remember the name of. So it's this muscle right here. It goes around your neck. I call it the, I know it's not this, but the Sistruming muscle, because like it sounds so fancy, but it's not that. I know Sistruming's the fermented herring, so Swedish thing. So anyways, so we got that. No, okay, so we got our chest. Man, this is what I was trying to avoid. Oh, okay, so clothing now. We're gonna be doing clothing for sure, I swear. I swear we're gonna do some clothing. Oh man, I love this background, it's so pretty. Anyways, getting distracted. Okay, so because our shoulder box is like this, we're going to fix the corset. I need it to be more pronounced, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna set the belt first, like that kind of like, I think I need to like something like that. Yeah. Something like that. Need to. Oh boy. We're starting off good with the fixes. Something like that. Now, the nice thing about Photoshop, you know, when you have a sketchbook, you tend to rotate your sketchbook depending on how you want it to draw. Well, the nice thing about Photoshop is I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so this one is going to have some larger bands. There, somewhere. Something like that. So you see right there, this shows a bit more of that squashing action that I'm going for. So I think what I'm going to do for this one, instead of creating another layer, I think I'm going to do the thing I said, like where you take your eraser, you bring down the opacity, and you kind of just gently erase away the mistakes. I'm going to just turn off the body for now. Turn off the chest. Yeah, there we go. So now I can easily go over it and don't have to worry about having to have too many lines. Like, you'll still see them very faded in the background, but when you go to clean up, it's not going to be distracting. So then you can easily do some cleanup. No problem. But having a steady hand would help. Also, if you want to really show that squashing action, when squashing, if you think about a ball, so you have your ball. When you put force down, well, instead of, you know, staying its shape, the force of gravity will squash it down. So its weight, or the air inside, will disperse in both directions and push it out. So to add some squash, we always add kind of like out curves instead of like this, because when you stretch a ball, oops, let's bring our eraser back up to 100. When you bring a ball for stretching, when you basically have force pulling out vertically, and it could be also horizontally, like you can go, when you're pulling a force two separate ways, it'll go for a stretching action, which will make it concave almost like this, because the air inside is trying to, or particles or whatever, is trying to fill up this empty space inside. So when you're stretching, to elongate that shape, you go for a like concave kind of like shape. Tippets. Man, I'm being all technical today. What is this? This is not Friday Talk. Friday Talk is about having fun and cartoons. Superpowers. By the way, the more you go, so you could start like this, that's like a start of a curve, then like that, which is a little bit more, and then you go kind of more, so you could see it's squashing. Okay, so that's the belt. Now for this guy, we're gonna rotate B. So even there, you could see the difference between that to this, which is like, has more life to it. Might change the belt a bit. I think this is a bit too much. So, but I definitely like this one, which has more, like this one here that has more life than this one, which looks fine, but it's also very stiff. Doesn't have much life to it. This one, she looks like she's definitely putting more weight onto her left side. Well, it would be her right side, but our left side. If I wanted to go real crazy, I would twist this, but this is already complex enough, and I can't. Anyways, speaking of old shows, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a show called I think it's called Here and Now, There and Then. I think that's what it's called. FYI, if you haven't seen it, it's pretty dark. It has the kind of World War II kind of feel. It's very dark, but it has a fantastic story. Well, fantastic. It's pretty dark. Like, if you don't like that dark kind of story with, like, realistic war messages to it, don't watch it. It's very, very dark. I was very shocked when I first saw it, but I have rewatched it since. And now, there, and then, I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. It's been a while. Yeah, that's what it's called. Or Now and Then, Here and There. That's what it's called. And I'll show you some. So you can see here, it's about these two main characters. He ends up getting transported into this post-apocalyptic world with a dictator. And he tries to escape with this girl he's trying to save. Her name is Lalalu, I think. Again, I don't really know why this person goes to save. You don't really know anything about her, but apparently she looked like she needs saving. So he ends up trying to survive and stuff. But when he starts there, he's basically left there to hang off the building and die. But he ends up escaping, and it does have a happy ending at the end. But again, I'm giving a warning. Like, if you guys really can't handle dark messages, do not watch it. But if you can, it's really good. Has a good message in the end. Has some really dark imagery, so be very careful if you're going to watch it. Like the name of the country that they're stuck in with this dictator is called Hollywood. I don't know if that's a message, but geez, way to go. Oh, we changed video again for music. So it's called Best Electronic Sounds 2017. gaming music. I'll put that one in the description too. You guys can check it out if you want to. Again, I can't tell if you guys can hear it from your side. A couple days ago it was working fine, but now, yesterday it wasn't really working, so I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, I kind of like that better. Definitely starting with something. If you want something, an anime that's more kind of family friendly, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Del Toro Quest. It's originally a book, an English book actually, that was turned into a manga. Then it was turned into an anime. And I actually saw the anime first, and then I rented the book from the library. It's really cute, actually. This is it right here. Is our main character. He is set off on a quest by his parents to find all the gemstones to unite the kingdom again, because currently it's under the rule of this evil guy. And anyways, the whole story is really cute. I like it. The opening's kind of catchy. So if you like something more family friendly, that would be it. Hmm. might go to the end of this video and then I'll probably end the stream because it's already 20 to 10 here, and I have some cleaning to do before tomorrow. If you guys don't know and you're just gonna join right here, I do streams about sketching. Mondays we do my art Mondays, where I do my own art for like different stuff, like just regular art, maybe to clean up some of my Inktober's. Wednesdays is whatever Wednesday, so usually I end up doing like a daily doodle. And then Friday is Fan Art Friday, which is I'm going to be doing a month-long project, which is what I'm doing right now, where I'll be doing fan art posters. And then during the streams, we'll be chatting about animes and mangas and webtoons and all those kinds of things. So if you guys like that, you can subscribe. And then as the year goes by, we're going to be doing more videos. My friend and I were going to be doing a podcast about the animation industry that we both work in. We do currently work in animation industry on actual shows that are on TV. And then just our experiences and, you know, the good and the bad stuff of the industry, just so for people who are interested in going to be an animator, we'll have a more exclusive info kind of thing. But we won't be revealing anything about our projects, obviously. And then on other videos, we're going to be starting just simple gameplay videos. There's actually a couple of video games that I've been wanting to start up again, but I haven't had the chance, so I'm using this as a chance to, you know, play them. And then, yeah, maybe just some random, like I'll be working on my cosplays, and so I'll probably videotape that too, or the process. I do buy and make my cosplay, I do both. I am a plus size person, so trying to do cosplay while being a plus size person is not always easy, so I would always have to be creative. So, and they usually turn out pretty well, but I do have some very funny horror cosplay stories. So if you guys are interested in knowing about that, I don't mind sharing my stories. I have some pretty funny ones and also some terrible ones. So I don't mind sharing my convention stories. To anybody who is not sure about going to conventions, they're always a blast. You get to meet people that have the same interests as you for 3 days. So that's always cool. My parents don't understand it, but they support me in doing it. And that's mostly my channel, so if you guys are interested, subscribe. You know what? I kind of like it, but there's still, I don't like this line right here. And this is why I do the kind of rough, cleaner rough of the drawing, just so I can see stuff that I don't like. So like this line doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so I'll put the body back on, and then I'll see that, okay, I put that for the knee, so I'll just continue that, and then I'll do this. Okay, so this guy needs to be connected for sure, so I'm going to do that there. Where is this? And then because this will be a tension point, we're going to put a couple lines. Anyways, like I said, I'm probably going to change it. Okay, so we have our kind of rough, cleanish clothing. So now what I'm going to do is do the hair, but I'm going to do it separate again, just because she has such long hair, and she has the hair piece right at her like side of her skull, like right here, these parts. So those need to be kind of separate from the rest of the body because they're so intricate. I do like her chest more like this, just because it's more lifelike, I guess you could say. Like if I do this, just some muscle tone here. Do an elbow. Elbows are never, your arm never is like this, unless that's like this. I've seen very limited case where the style is where the arm is like this, kind of like that, but not many animators use it. So your elbow, if you were to draw it, got your arm, your elbow is actually kind of diagonal to your arm, so you need to, it's never aligned. Your elbow just naturally doesn't do that. The fold of your arm and your elbow doesn't do that. So to avoid some weird anatomy, you make sure that your elbow is not at the same spot as your arm fold. I think the only time it's going to be really close is when it's being very foreshortened, but even then, like, see, it's like on an angle. And then another way to draw muscle anatomy is you go straights to curves. So if you think of, the leg is actually the best example. So if you draw just a leg, you have more muscle, bulging muscle on the front of your thigh. So the top part of your thigh is going to be curved and the back will be straight. And then your lower leg, so you have your knee, which will have its own straights and curves. And then your lower leg with your calf is more pronounced than the top part, your shin. So your shin will be straight, but your calf will be curved. So that's one way to kind of get some simple muscle anatomy. And it's the same for arms. So you have your arm, this is your shoulder. Arms are not my most strong suit. So you have your muscles here, this is straight, and then muscle, so you got your elbow straight, and then you have your forearm, which has, this one is kind of tricky because it has both curved, but one's more pronounced than the other. You have your top part and then your lower arm. So you can actually think of your lower arm as divided into two pieces, the top part and the bottom part. So for your lower arm, the top part, this part right here would be more straight and this part would be curved, and then vice versa. So kind of like that. And then your foot, so foot, something like that. And it goes the same for everything on your body. Your body has some straights and some curves. Like you have your pectorals, you have the bottom part sit straight, like that, straight. Your abs. So you have your rib cage. So this part will be curved. And then your abs will be more straight. So most times it'll be, you call it straights to curves, but it'll always have sometimes a slight curve unless it's specifically drawn to be more straight. Anyways, little tidbits. I'm gonna have to redraw this hand later. Okay, to draw Titania's dress, I'm just gonna go by the curve. Your chest, a woman's chest, because of gravity, naturally is like almost like a teardrop shape. So the curve, or I guess you could say the 3D lines would follow said teardrop shape. So it goes like this and then around. See, like you got that's basically how the basic shape of a woman's chest. So when you draw tight clothing around the chest, you kind of want to follow that 3D line teardrop shape. So like, see, I'm just gonna do that around clothing. There, something like that. And to draw like bracelets and stuff, or like straps like what I'm doing here, it's always nice to draw through, even though it's a pain to kind of figure out later. It's always nice to draw through it just so you have a good curve. Trying to draw it eyeball doesn't get that right curve around the arm. From the picture, it looks like the arm things are very flowy, so they'll have quite a few folding points. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. And when you're drawing this close, it's always nice to zoom out just to see how it looks. I think it looks good for now, but when I clean it up, it might be completely different. Okay, well, I'm not really feeling the arm things tonight, so I'm probably going to do them tomorrow or later. I think I'm going to draw the hair like this. And then, problem is okay, so anime really straight hair, like really, always has like the bangs kind of going like this, but drawing them following a body shape is quite difficult. Oh, commercials. Why commercials? Skip. I want the music. Music. Everybody wants music. I think I might have to pick a different color. What color should I go for the hair? Personally, you don't have to do like 5 bajillion different colors like I'm doing. It's easier for me to break down for myself. Okay, you know what? There we go. Okay. For myself, I just find it easier to break down some specific pieces, especially when it comes to like hair and like clothing, because clothing has so much stuff going on. I find it dividing it between colors is a little bit easier for me to control. I'm gonna do this. And then we're gonna do from here. And then I think I want to make the hair, I don't know. Ooh, maybe. Maybe I'll make it just kind of I don't know. Because it currently has like the hair pieces. So the bangs are definitely separate. Oh, I don't know. I do not know. And this is why I draw the hair separate, just because this one's gonna be tricky. This one for sure is gonna be tricky because I can't seem to figure out exactly what I want. There we go. Make it big. Make it big. There we go. It's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so we have the frontal bang. So this is the hairline. You don't see her ears, so I don't have to worry about the ears. Thank the Lord. But we do, okay, so middle part. Okay, I'm just going to draw here for placement. So her hair goes like this, basically. And then this part kind of overlaps and then goes underneath. And then the rest kind of, trying a stupid face for now. Yeah, so I don't know, do I want to end it here? Maybe I'll wait till the end of this song and then I'm gonna end it, just because I'm getting really tired of drawing. So for now, I never get tired. I'm probably gonna draw after this, to be fair. Just so I can start next Friday. I'll probably work on this. Like, I'll probably have the hair figured out by next Friday, but by next Friday we're probably going to start on the cleanup, which is fine, and then it'll be the filling. So yeah, so I'm gonna probably work on Chisei tomorrow. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the stream. It's been amazing chatting with you. If you guys like it, subscribe. As I mentioned, I do sketching streams, and we'll be doing other videos throughout the month and the next year. If you guys like the music, all of the video links are underneath. Please go check them out if you like them. And yeah, see ya. Bye bye. Happy Friday.